The 119th Congress will formally begin today at noon, maybe, with Republicans set to control both chambers for the first time since 2019. The House will gavel into session to hold a speaker election, swear in all 434 members, and consider a new rules package that would make it harder to oust the sitting speaker. Over in the Senate, only the 32 newly elected or re-elected senators will be sworn in on the Senate floor by Vice President Kamala Harris. Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Gabe Amo. Gabe, thank you for waking up with us early, especially given that we may have a long day ahead of us. I don't know. What do you think is happening today at noon? And the reason I say maybe is because you really can't start the 119th Congress till you elect a speaker.
That's 100% right. That's why I got my sleep in early. I knew I was going to be here, but the Republicans have to get their house in order, and that's no pun intended. They literally need to figure out how they're going to proceed for the American people. I know what my vote is going to be for Hakeem Jeffries and his effective leadership, but we, of course, know where the numbers are, and they have to sort this out, and it looks like it's going to be tough for them.
You were saying that the ABCs might actually be quite indicative of how this process is going to go. Explain.
Yeah, so, essentially, we vote in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
So me being Amo, I'm early in the alphabet, but you'll see some of the Republicans who might be inclined to change their speaker earlier in the alphabet, and that may dictate how the rest of it plays out. So I would pay very close attention to the order as everybody is planning out their office bingo today on how this plays out. Take a look at who's voting when, and that may be indicative of some of what happens today.
Yeah, names like Tim Burchett, Eli Crane, those are your B's, your C's, and then, of course, some of the other holdouts are later in the alphabet. But we know that Johnson can only afford to lose one. If he goes to a second, then the whole thing sort of blows up. So is your expectation that we do one round? I mean, the Speaker said yesterday, I think it's going to go smoothly. The plan is to get it on the first ballot. Is that what Democrats are preparing for?
Well, look, these are creatures of chaos. So I don't have any prognostication about what Republicans will do, but it seems like it's pretty likely that we could go to more than one ballot here. And this is the problem. When you are driven by the tyranny of the minority, by the extremists of your party, you're going to be stuck in this. Rather than focusing on the needs of the American people, they're focused on an agenda that's about tax cuts for the rich and the will of the oligarch in chief in Elon Musk and his agenda that Donald Trump is pursuing. That's not what the American people care about.
As we start making this pivot to policy, though, these close margins, yes, they could portend chaos, but they could also portend opportunity for Democrats. Where are the policy points that you specifically think you could find commonality in this razor-thin Congress?
Well, ultimately, when you look at the numbers of the House, however the Speaker vote turns out, Republicans will need Democrats to get the basics done. So we're going to have to return to the spending discussion again in March. And as you saw last time, we had a deal between Democrats and Republicans that was blown up by incoming President Trump. Now, that can't be the status quo with these laser-thin margins. So what I do see is us being able to defend the progress of the Biden-Harris administration on key things that we agree on, like the infrastructure law. Those are things that we need to keep in place while we focus on lowering costs for the American people.
But even something like the debt ceiling, I know that was an important point of leverage for Democratic leadership to keep intact as they headed into this year. Do you sense that among your members, your fellow caucus mates, that there is a desire to raise the debt ceiling, for example? I could see that as something very bipartisan.
Well, look, they have to deal with Democrats. But let's be clear. The debt ceiling is a Trojan horse to bring forth massive tax cuts for the wealthy so that people like Elon Musk can get richer and richer. So that is not anything we're coming to lightly. We have to hold the line for the working class American people who deserve the best from their Congress.
We have seen Hakeem Jeffries be able to hold this caucus together through the last 2 years of being in the minority. Obviously, y'all are closer to the majority this time, but you didn't get it. What do you think his guiding principle has been behind the scenes in the caucus? I know he often says, I'll let the caucus work its will, but he also has to have a strong hand in guiding Democrats through this period where he's basically one of the key leaders of the anti-Republican, conference right now, caucus.
Yeah, well, leadership is about listening first and foremost. And you have seen time and time again, Leader Jeffries reach out to every segment of our caucus to really make sure that people are prioritizing their constituents. At the end of the day, we are held to account every 2 years in the House by our constituents. And first and foremost is making sure that we are in tune with those priorities. And we'll continue to do that over these next 2 years as we fight for people, fight for their values, fight for lowering costs, and ultimately providing a contrast to the chaos of the Republican Party.
And I think the other piece of it I wonder if you're thinking about is the way that it's going to get messaged, because that was one of the big things as we ended last year was how did Democrats message the true legislative achievements that they had over the course of the last 2 and 4 years? Has that been a conversation among you, your colleagues, especially you as a younger member? There is a lot of energy to change the way that things are done here.
Yeah, look, that's been a big family conversation that we as Democrats have been having. And we have to talk to every segment in every venue, whether it's podcasting, whether it's constituent meetings in the district. For me, as a member of the Future Forum and a co-chair of this group of younger members of the Democratic caucus, it's essential that we speak to every segment, not just talking about the issues of lowering prescription costs on Medicare, but bedrock issues for young people like home ownership. And we have to get proximate on those issues to what people are experiencing. The further we are, the less likely we are able to achieve our goals. And we're going to be as close to the American people as possible. And I look forward to that in the 119th Congress.
Well, Congressman, whenever the 119th Congress begins, I look forward to watching it all unfold. Thank you for coming and waking up early with us. Get some coffee. I'll see you on the Hill
it's a pleasure
in just a
to be
little
here.
bit. Congressman Gabe Amo of Rhode Island, thank you.